I knew it. Another Hurrdat Media Production.
Joao, I can't believe we're freaking doing this.
I honestly, it's been, since, I guess, it's years. Absolutely.
Wait, hello? Joao, 2019 we first met.
Exactly. That's insane, isn't it?
Wait, okay, you remember, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay,
BravoCon, first of all, yeah.
So you guys, in the first BravoCon ever, that was in New York, was 2019.
Crazy time.
I didn't even have side piece, I don't think, at the time. I was just like a dork Bravo, like show lover. And I was like begging everyone, like, let me be a part of it. So they made me the moderator, host, whatever, for Joao's, the whole below deck. Remember it was called Getting Naughty? Naughty. Yeah, get it. They're so clever over there. So it was you, Colin, my love.
Such a sweet guy.
It was what? Captain Lee, Captain Sandy, and Kate.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's how we first met.
Yeah. Crazy times, eh?
And you guys, I literally have been stalking Joao. I mean, that's what, at least 3 years ago.
It's like I said, it's been up and coming for sure. Yeah. Well, but I'm happy to finally get here and do this.
You know how excited I was. So when I first started Side Piece, just to make like guests feel cool or special, do something fun, I would write like a poem for them.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then I just stopped because I was like, they don't give a shit. And it takes up time for me a lot. And, but you, because
I get a poem?
I'm bringing it back. I wrote a whole poem for you.
All right. Okay. Interesting.
Can I read it?
Go on then. I'm excited to hear it.
Okay. You ready?
Indeed.
He blazed onto our screen, capturing the role of lead deckhand. Moving up the ladder to bosun was the goal he wanted to land. But then came along Chief Stew Hannah and two of her very, very pretty stews. And he set his sight on getting into their shoes. Thankfully, he always had Colin by his side. But would that be enough for him to come back for another season and a crazy ride? Luckily for us, he all came back for season 4. And watching him absolutely dominate as bosun was anything but a bore. We then got to see him back with Aisha and his new captain, Jason. How amazing that was, especially seeing him, that cute little girl he be chasing. We all have missed him on our screens, but dry your eyes, because today he's back again. Joao is here on Side Piece Show.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you. Awesome.
I was very excited. I had it was probably like 10 longer, but I was like, Melissa, stop. Like, this is insane.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm so excited. And you know what's crazy? Probably 4 days ago, at some point, they were replaying on Bravo Below Deck Med with your seasons.
Oh, fantastic. I haven't actually watched any of the full seasons. I've skimmed through it from day one, and I'm quite eager to go back and watch, because it'll give me quite a bit of insight, I'm sure, as to how things have changed.
So you never, after you shot and filmed and then the season would air, you never fully watched every episode?
No. Never fully watched. The only time was for example, if we get asked to do Watch What Happens Live, they'll say, well, they will ask you on the previous episode or the episode that is up and coming, and you got to know what's going on. So, but I still didn't quite get there.
Just because you were busy working, or you just didn't want to see it?
Well, I would say busy working mainly, but I haven't really been into reality TV, to be honest, which is ironic. Yeah, but I guess watching myself on TV, the first season was, I heard my voice and I was like, my gosh, that's me. I'm off. I'm done. I'm out. But after that, I think I watched 1 or 2 episodes and I was like, it was quite, I was like, hey, I'm on TV. And then I got quite a bit of backlash, of course, on the first season. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, actually, I don't really want to watch it. So I didn't. Yeah. And I didn't watch it since then.
So, okay, you are doing your thing, and then they approach you about doing a crazy reality show. So you had never seen Below Deck before doing it season 3?
Never. It was, I was a pro. So it was my actually, I was supposed to be, in theory, Bobby. And I didn't follow through with it. So that's how it was actually going to play out right in the beginning, because I went up to the final stages of being casted onto the show. And myself and my brother got a job on a 65-meter charter yacht together. So I declined the show at the very end. So when I'd heard about it only after that, I kind of went back to try and figure out who I would have been on the show. So Bobby's, I think, first episode or first season would have been me instead of him, something like that.
No way.
Yeah,
so then you would have started the whole Below Deck Men.
That was, I think, yes.
Or was that
it was
season 2?
It was below. I can't. I can't.
No,
remember.
it was 1 or 2.
There was because that was 2016. So whichever in 2016.
And you were 3. You came on 3.
Yeah. So 2017. 2017. There was production, and 2018 it came out. So 2016. So the 2017 show that came up, either Med or the States. I'm not sure which one Bobby was first on, but yeah, it would have been that one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so then why did you come back? Did they approach you again?
There was a gentleman that had initially asked me to come on, Conan Ryan, and very nice guy. He had asked me a few times throughout the year, are you keen? And I'm like, got a job. Are you keen? Got a job. Kind of like how we've been for the past 3 years. Are we doing this? Sorry, And then basically I had resigned, and circumstantially the very next day I got a message from him saying, hey Joao, I'm going to bother you again. Would you want to put your name in the hat again? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So it was quite a very circumstantial, I'd say. And then what happened was they wanted me to do, of course, the casting and the pre-casting, the kind of interviews prior to, and I was too busy. I was literally on a charter, and I said, look, I can call you for 5 minutes. There's no way I can get on a video call with internet with, I think we were in Malta at the time.
Oy.
And Conan said, no, don't worry. We've got your footage from 2 years ago. We'll just use that. It's okay. So they didn't even use my footage, the latest footage.
More current. Yeah. No.
So yeah. And then 2 weeks later, I joined the show, and that was it. Yeah.
So are you looking back? Because obviously you were on, by the way, I'm going to go on a limb and say, after watching back,
yes,
season 4, your second season, was hands down my favorite season.
Amazing. Okay. Awesome.
Like, you were embracing yourself. You thought I was going to say something bad, or didn't you?
No, not at all. Oh, yeah. I'm like, waiting for it.
It was so good. Like, I remember it being good when I watched it, but then rewatching it, I'm like, oh my God, this season is so incredible.
Yeah. It's so good to hear, like, because I always compare, I would say, I always think the current season I do out of the 3 so far is the best season for me. I enjoy it. And only after a couple of years, you kind of go back, and that's what I want to do. I want to go back and actually revisit it through watching them and think, which one would I have actually preferred overall? But I really enjoyed season 4. I really did. And it was nice once again, to have Colin there. And you see, the first season, I started on an okay foot and screwed that up for myself. But every season after that, I actually start on the back foot, because before I come on board, season 4 of Med and Australia, there is already someone, stewardess, Chief Stew, Hannah, Aisha, they already don't want me there, in a sense. So by the time I get on board, them all knowing that I'm coming on board, it's already a point where I have to try and prove something when I'm not there yet. You know what I mean? Right, I'm not the same person from however long ago, but I'm always trying I always step on the back foot and have to make up for something I haven't done yet, you know?
Yeah, totally. I know it's hard. Well, did you, and you felt that then going into season 4?
Immediately. At season 4 and Australia, it was, yeah.
Because of working with Hannah and Aisha again.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. It's, yeah.
Yeah, but then look what happened. Were you surprised that what happened with you and Hannah season 3 and then the turnout of season 4?
Well, I was, but I think we become more diplomatic, you know, especially previous season coming back. It's natural. It's not that we're pretending to be someone we're not. It's just, you know, with the backlash you get from a previous season, whatever it may be, you broaden your perspective. You kind of open up to think, okay, well, what should I change in myself? Maybe. So look, the truth is, Hannah never gave me anything to go against her with. If she did, I would have retaliated, and that's just in my personality. Not necessarily retaliated. In the word is strong, but I would have backed myself up in whatever it may have been. So I guess the way the season would have gone, really, it was depending on how they would have been to me originally, you know, or in the startup. Yeah. Sure. So I mean, I'm going to season now with the Below Deck Down Under. Myself and Aisha got along very well as far as I was concerned on board. Of course, seeing a couple of the snippets of what she said behind my back, I never said anything behind her back. I was quite, you know, open and honest with her with everything that we went through, and seeing and hearing, you know, a couple of things after the season. It, you know what, each to their own. It's no skin off my nose. If she doesn't like me, she doesn't like me. If she thinks I'm pretending, that is up to her and entirely up to her. Her boyfriend that I met was awesome. He was really nice, and you know, it was really nice. I got a message from him actually after the show, and he was like, "Hey, Joao, just to let you know, good guy. I really enjoyed hanging out with you, and all the best." Regardless of what happened and what Aisha would have said, he took up the initiative to message me, and I found that absolutely amazing.
That's
he's
incredible.
Absolutely.
You didn't have you don't have to do that, especially if you're having beef with my girl or beef or whatever she thinks there's beef, to even go above and say that. That's something about you.
Yeah. Well, I'll give him more credit for taking that step and, you know, actually sending a message. I think that was fantastic. I really, really did appreciate it. Yeah.
Because you know what they say, right? But you know what? It's crazy because you know what they say. We were saying about like what I hear after. They always say there's 3 parts to doing a reality show, right? Yeah. The filming of it, the watching it back,
yes,
and the reunion if there is one.
Yeah.
What was hardest for you overall?
I think overall was the watching it back. Like the first couple of episodes of the very first season I did, of course, because I was getting so much backlash up until the point I got enough. I was like, you know what? I actually got phoned by someone high up in Bravo, and the guy was like, "Hey, Joao, I've heard you're getting a lot of backlash, and I just want to commend you for not retaliating, because I never blamed the show. I never said you've painted me in a light that I'm not. You know, I took it in my stride and tried to learn from it rather than back up and defend myself when really, and we all know social media especially, you defend yourself and you are going down. You're gone, you know.
Always. But at the same time, you're like, I got to say something. Well, like, I got to stand up for myself.
Exactly.
Right.
I think, you know, you'll get 100 messages saying, "Hey, you did great," and you are not going to, or most likely not going to respond to them. You'll get one message or one a comment negative, and it's natural. You just want to say, actually, you're wrong, you know, but you have to try and take that. The amount of times I've literally written something and I'm like, delete. It's like, it gets out of hand, you know. And then I'll send a message to the producer. It's like, listen, I'm gonna send this. They're like, don't send it. I'm like, okay, cool, okay. I'm not gonna send it.
That's nice, so that they were higher up and they're like trying to be encouraging.
He said to me, you know, how are you dealing with it? And I said to him, you know what? To be honest, the only thing that connects me to the negativity is my phone. I put my phone away, and literally there is nothing around me that's negative. So that was the big. And he's like, "Oh well, great strategy, I guess, and thank you very much." And again, the first season I did learn a lot. Some traits stay, so that's just who I am. And then obviously some are very exaggerated on a show, but it is still something within you that is, so it's all been a hell of an experience. Considering, and I've said it 1,000 times, from Zimbabwe, I'd never imagined being on an American reality TV show, shown around the world.
It's crazy because think about it. It's not like a lot of these reality shows, it's like you show up and you're in their home. Like you're in their natural setting.
Yeah.
So you are thrown onto a boat when you never leave, except for dinners or whatever, working your balls off around the clock with people you've never met before and a camera in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
So was that a lot for you? Like season 3, starting it?
It was a lot. Of course, you don't know how to be. It's not. You're not in your natural environment. Except the fact that boats at that stage was a kind of natural environment for me, because I just stepped off a very heavy charter boat, which was kind of also I was so tired by the time I actually joined that it was just chaos. Anyway, but it's of course it's new territory and you don't know how it's going to go. But then, my first night, I just dragged my way. To feeling.
Take it off right now.
The producer, I think on the first, I walked straight out of my room because it was all new to me. I walked straight into the producer's room and I said, "Guys, I am so sorry about last night." And they're like, "What do you mean? We can pack up. We've got a show. Cheers." I was like, day 3. It was perfect. I was like, "Well, if that's what you want, no problem. Let's go."
I can definitely do that. I'm the man for the job.
Let's go. Don't hold my beer. Let me drink it.
So, but listen, you had the new show on a boat, working around the clock. You're tired. You're working so hard. You have new people, the stuff with Hannah.
Yep.
The stuff with the girls.
Yeah.
Right. And what of all that was probably the hardest for you dealing with?
Honest, it's going to sound quite not arrogant, I guess, but I was so confident in myself that season that nothing was hard during the season. It wasn't, I was tired, of course, but I still I try to do as much as I can. I worked as hard as I could. What I didn't know didn't hurt me. Ignorance was bliss. So people talking about me behind my back on the season, I didn't know about it, so it didn't hurt me. Of course, further on, I always assumed that I was right when I was wrong in some cases, and I get it. I get it from my mom. She's exactly the same. It's just one of those traits that we have. But being in this industry, meeting so many different cultures, you're going to get stages of this within my career so far. People who know a lot more than you and show it, people who know a lot more than you and don't show it, people that think they know and pretend they, so you're going to get people with less experience higher than you, people with more experience underneath you, older people underneath you, which is quite a big deal in this industry, as far as respect comes. And I going back to the question, the first year I just did, there was no feeling, there was no emotional attachment to any of it.
You're like, I'm just doing my thing.
I'm just being me. Exactly. And I think that, the first thing that the producers say to us, because they don't get involved, regardless of how many people say they do and don't, they can, when they ask you questions during your interrogation, I'll call it, they might slip something in there, and then you're like, oh, does that person really think? Okay, well, then I'm going to make sure that they know how I feel. That's
right.
Kind of thing. But they said to us, just be who you are and speak with how you feel. If you don't speak, then we don't have a show. I was like, easy, no problem, I can do that. So naturally, like in our environments on boats, people are slightly more passive aggressive, and slightly they either contain their emotions or tell someone else. And And on the show, if you don't like someone, you're kind of obliged to say, I don't like you. And then, that immediately, people I think should be like that more often. But
totally, right to your face.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like you. Cool. Cheers. I'm not wasting my time in this space. And cheers.
Right.
So yeah, that's basically it. We were told to say what we felt, and then I did exactly that. And then right at the end of the season, they always ask, is there anything you regret? And I said, well, actually, I should have spoken up more. And they're like, oh my God, are you joking? I was like, that's how I felt. I said, I think I was containing a lot. And they're like, mate, you were not containing. Well, you're out. So, okay, cool. So, yeah. Anyway.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But so then you see some of it after it's filming. You see some of the things that people are saying.
Yeah.
And what made you say, okay, I'll come back for another round?
Well, Colin had a big part in that because I almost didn't. I was like, why am I putting myself in the limelight again to be thrown under the bus? If the comments before the first season, even after I'd done the season, because it takes about 8 months to come out on average, 6 to 8 months. All the comments, oh my God, Joao's back. Oh my God, why? And fair enough, it's a TV series, it's a season, and I understand it. But I was just skeptical on lining myself back up in, being back in the firing range,
Totally.
And I spoke to Colin, and, Colin knows or knew me more so than anyone else. I went and visited him. I met his family, and, he saw the change, the difference. And he said, what have you got to lose? You're already on rock bottom, like you can only go up from here.
Right.
So yeah, I did it. And their intention was for me to go back on, I think immediately after. I could feel it, like, okay, I'm going back, and then after the 4th season, I didn't quite feel like I was going to go back, and I didn't, because I guess my growth can be interpreted as what's the word? Kind of like, what's the word? Gosh, you're just ending.
You're hitting your ceiling, your cap, because you were going to be a captain.
Yeah, well, this is it. Yeah, they're going to be a captain, but too reserved. That's what it was.
Oh, got
it. They would say, okay, Joao's grown, yes, or he's just being reserved because he doesn't want to look like an asshole again. Which is that for me, it's the first part where I did grow quite a bit, and also the season 4, I felt like season 3 they put someone who knew far less than me above me, and that's literally a recipe for disaster to start off with. And then the second season I was on, season 4, I knew as production goes that we can't just fire people, because naturally Jack would have been gone within the first 4 minutes. And I love him. Like he's even today we still chat every now and then. He's one of the only guys.
Really?
Yeah, we've met up every now and then, and I haven't spoken to him in quite a while now. But yeah, I mean, 100%. And Colin was there. He would have got and understanding that my goal was, okay, I can't fire them. How can I make them want to work and enjoy at the same time? So that was the goal, and I think we achieved it at the end. So yeah, it was good.
It was so sweet at the end. Like you guys start because Jack and Travis were
Yes, Jack and Travis.
Yeah, they were the besties. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So they're sitting together, and obviously Travis is going to take Jack's side, right? Okay. And you're like, dude, please just fucking work. Like that's all I want you to do.
Yeah. Just work. Just work and stop pretending to work. But again, Jack, when he came on board, he's an engineer. So when he came on board, he's like, so what am I fixing? They're like, no, mate, you're a deckhand. And he's like, well, I didn't know that. Like you don't actually know what's going on until right to when you
No way.
Yeah. So I understand his, but I mean, he's never watched the show either. He just thought, for a good laugh, and he got exactly that. So, yeah, he is actually a really nice guy. I enjoy him.
I loved seeing you guys at the end, and he was even joking, like, I can't believe you didn't punch me like 100 times. And you guys were joking it was just so sweet.
It was so hard to actually keep a straight face with him. So the one issue that eventually when I exploded, I remember it because it came up so often, was in the bridge. I was talking to Sandy, and he was spraying a vinegar bottle, and then he was leaving the spray and then wiping further on, and then spraying, and then I was like, oh my God, fuck! Like my insides that was my boiling point. So I go outside. And I'm like, Jack, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? I can see you doing this. And he goes, oh, no. You like, his full accent comes out. And as I do this, the camera crew, the production runs out like, Joao, stop. You don't have a camera. Just stop. Don't say a word. Stop. So I'm like, okay, we close the door. All right. And he's standing like on 2 below me, and he's going, you're going to fire me, bro? I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to be serious with you now. Now the camera's gone. By the time the camera came back, I was laughing. I couldn't. He's like, please don't fire me, bro. I promise I'm going to.
Your accent. I can't even deal with it. It is so on point.
Oh, that was so funny.
Oh my God.
So now, by the time the camera crew, he had defused the situation when that was going to be an explosion, they were like,
and then that was a turning point for you guys, I feel like.
It was, yes. And we had also gone, I mean, they didn't show it, but myself and him had gone and played a bit of pool at one of the local places there. And just him and I, and, we had a good chat, and he realized that we're all in it for the same thing. We're all doing the same thing. It's, and we were good after that. So yeah, that was the fire, the turning point for sure.
That was it. I remember just watching it, and you're like, Sandy's talking, and you're like, what the fuck is he doing out there? And I was like, oh shit. And then then it was like, you're like 3 weeks, dude, or whatever it was. Charters? Let's just like do it. Let's just do it. Yeah. So Sandy is then like, I see this guy. He's incredible. He's a leader. He can be an amazing captain. She's setting you up with another boat to be a captain.
Yep.
So from there, then did you go right into being a captain?
Straight to it. Yeah. It was such a pleasure. Like, honestly, it felt surreal, honestly. And I kept saying to Sandy, I'm not ready for this. Like, you throw me into a captain's position, I'm not ready, And she said, listen, if you met the captains out there, you're ready. You're good to go. So I was like, all right, let's do it then, And I went straight on. We did a bit of a refits. We did a couple of boss trips. The boss was really nice. Which was great. I spent a year and a bit there, enjoying on the boat. I employed one of my, in fact, who works with me right now as well. It's very incestual.
Yes, it is.
I keep the people who I trust very close, and they all work for me now. So it's great.
That's amazing.
My first bosun, my first boss on my very first boat that I joined, his words to me, a Romanian guy, he walks up, he says, listen, I'm only going to tell you how to do things once. And then he walks off. And I was like, fuck this guy. Who does he think he is? Anyway, I employ him now as my chief engineer on board.
No.
We've been in touch for the past 8 years. And we've actually worked on 4 boats together. As soon as I became captain, I've employed him on each boat that I've moved on to. Yeah. So, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's always crazy too when you like are having some kind of issue. I mean, look at what you and Jack, and now how many years later you guys still like keep in touch,
Yeah. Like more so than the rest, honestly. Like,
really?
Colin, I do speak to every now and then. We've not grown distant, but we haven't seen each other in a long time, and I believe that we see each other, we're good. It's not we follow each other, we keep in touch. It's good. Jack, again, the same thing. Adam now from the season 2, Below Deck Down Under, I still keep in touch with him. Harry, now I'm not so. Wow, it's just a matter of keeping in touch.
Right, totally.
But other than that, no. I guess those are the people I keep in touch with, and yeah.
Who would have thought? After all that, you and Jack still. Did something happen? Did I read this, or is this wrong? Because there's always shit out there online, right? Did something happen with you and Captain Sandy?
It was just during COVID. There was someone had asked me about her ways, I guess. What do I say? Her promoting me. What was it real? And I said, look, the thing is, it's hard to tell with people on the show whether they're doing it for you or doing it for themselves, because at the end of the day, at BravoCon, when I was congratulated for being a captain by Jerry O'Connell, the crowd went, they cheered for me. And she did have a comment there saying, but you're not a real captain, and that kind of started I was saying, well, can I just live this moment, please? Because that'd be nice, But it was, I understand where she was coming from. And she literally says exactly what's on her mind all the time, which is also fantastic.
Right. Right.
So, but I did message her. I have spoken to her. She came on my boat in Monaco. I took her for a tour around the boat, and we spoke very well about everything. And of course, I love her girlfriend, now soon to be wife. Yes, she's incredible, and we're still in touch now, and all good. It was, like I said, it's social media. It really is. It's people tend to just take on. I did say even at that time, please listen to the rest of the podcast before you take that one comment and go off that
and run and keep and run.
And she did, and she said, I'm sorry, and all good. And then we weren't in touch, but again, we don't. If we see each other, we're in touch. If we don't,
totally. Well, look at you. You're like, how many hours are we ahead? Look, it's dark. I haven't even had coffee yet. I mean, it's hard enough when someone's on the street from me to keep in touch.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, this industry is so difficult. It almost sounds selfish, but at the end of the day, you literally want to go on your phone and you're just brain dead. You sit in your bed and you scroll through YouTube videos or whatever. Your family will try to contact you, and a lot of the time, especially for your first few months on a boat, you almost don't respond to anyone. Anyone that's important anyway, because I don't know, it's quite a weird feeling. But it's quite difficult to keep in touch on boats, except for when you go to a place and they say, oh, hey, we're in the same place, or if they work with you.
Right. Totally. I know. I mean, how many times can you see someone when you're way over there in Collins in freaking New England area? It's like, oh my God. Colin though. Colin was the one that was like, I was like, Colin, because he came on like 100 times. And I was like, fucking tell Joao.
I do remember, and I do remember.
He tried so much.
No, awesome.
It's just crazy because Colin never came back. And then I thought you were like donezo. So did I. But then why come back?
You know what? I don't know. I can tell you what, I mean, nobody knows this, but I was supposed to start on Below Deck Down Under season 2 right from the beginning, and I didn't because my visa didn't come in time. So, which is crazy because it actually changed the entire show. It literally changed everything because I could only come back 2 weeks later after I got my visa, but there was no longer a position for me. So it's crazy. What happened was, I believe it was Luke was going to be lead deck. I was going to be, bosun and officer. That was the deal. And Carver wasn't going to come back, I believe. And this is, and then what happened was, because I couldn't get my visa, that as I recall on the first episode, they started a deck member down. And that was because I couldn't make it. So because I couldn't make it, they asked Carver to come back, and he came in. Luke stepped up as bosun. Then, of course, when I got my visa, they were like, okay, well, you kind of missed your chance to get back on. And I was like, okay, well, I'll be on standby. Let me know. And then, I don't know, a few hours later, they're like, change your plan, pack your bags, you're on your way. So I was like,
no way.
Yeah.
So that's how it went down.
Yeah. Crazy, yeah.
So how many charters into it then was it? 2 weeks?
I think it was. So my first charter was the Cam 4 crew. The
Oh my gosh! Yes, yeah,
yeah. And you know what? I tell you what. Also, again, one of my favorite crew. They were just honestly, and this is what I love about it. For their industry they're in. They were so respectful. They were so, and this is the feeling that you get around, well, people. And this is the people go, like, they have a quick judgment on people like that, including myself. I'm not, not a saint when it comes to judge. I think I'm quite a judgmental person, actually, beforehand, especially on first meetings. But they were incredible. And Sky, not his real name. His real name, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but it's definitely not Sky. Honestly, such an incredible guy. Honestly, just and fit as fuck. I mean, he was,
crazy.
Laura, she was incredible. I had a really good time with them. But that was my shock. I'm like, holy shit! Now what do I do? Like, now they had left quite a bit out. Of course, every season there's a lot that's been left out, but. That we did a talent show right in the beginning that didn't come up, and I was like, whoa, fuck. What have I got myself? Like, I don't know where it's gonna go. Oh, anyway, so it was good. It was good fun.
Was Aisha the only one that you knew going into this?
Aisha, yes, and then I had met Zarina in Antibes, but like very briefly, that was it. But Aisha, only Aisha.
And you knew she was.
Yes,
you knew.
I did. I was told before I came on, by the way, Aisha's here. Do you still want to come on? I was like, yeah, I've got no grudges. If she does, that's her problem, not mine.
So then, how was it working for? Because you had been with Sandy for a couple seasons. Yes. How was it then coming and working with Captain Jason?
It was good. Honestly, I think I had learned a lot. Like Jason. He's on. I don't know how he is off seasons. Of course, I've never worked with him off a show. But as far as I could tell, he has more of the structure or plan of captaining that I do. Like I'm quite similar. I have the similar what's the word? Like the way I would run a boat is quite similar to how he ran that season. So
Got it.
It was good. Yeah. And I did, beforehand by seeing how he was running it and how it aligned with how I would run a boat, or I do run a boat. It was good to see, because you just never know. I haven't worked for a captain since I became a captain. So it was nice to see from a more experienced captain that actually what I'm doing is not bad. How I'm doing it is not a bad way to
right.
run.
You're seeing your way.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was
I can guarantee you he's a loose goose behind the scenes somewhere.
Right? I guarantee he is.
Of course
right?
he is. Yeah,
a little different than I feel than Sandy.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
What were like the big differences? Because they seem like very different. Like I feel like almost Glenn is more like Jason, and Lee is almost more like Sandy.
Look, I've met Glenn, and Glenn is absolutely nothing like Jason.
Really?
Absolutely not. And of course, I've worked with Sandy, and I've been off boats and seen her around. We were quite close right in the beginning, and they are all contrasting.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing about even like if you have a favorite captain. You have to understand that there's no actual one way to do things on board. It's not a corporate business plan where, okay, if you do this, you are fired. If you don't, it's basically, it's up to your discretion to decide how you want to deal with things. Some ways good, some ways bad. And the way I see it, I believe that there's always a better way to do something. If you're on a boat, every boat's different. There's always a better way. I will gladly accept my crew saying, okay, well, I think this way is better. What do you think? Even if I do think it's better, I still have a preference. Like I prefer to do it my way. Even if your way is better, it sounds a little bit, I don't know, contrasting, but there's a way that you want to do it because actually you've done most of the ways before up until the point you're on. So it sounds like it's a better idea, but overall it's not, and captains, I've noticed overall, again, they're all different. There's not a single situation where it'll be the same. Of course, you have laws to go by, but laws on boats are also different. We're not all under the MCA code, or you're under MCA regulations. You have private vessels, you have commercial vessels, and you all comply in different ways. Yeah, so they're all contrasting. Glenn's hilarious.
I love Glenn. He was a blast.
He came and had dinner with us at our place in Mallorca with his very, very beautiful girlfriend, and she's stunning. She can't speak English that well, but she really tries, and it was just so nice to meet her. She's such a and she looks a lot younger than how old she is. And that's why when everyone gives Glenn a whole lot of crap online, and I love how he goes, "Oh, meet my daughter," blah blah blah. He actually embraces it and gives it back. He is exactly like that in person. He's so conversive. We had amazing chats. He came and played paintball with us. I think it was so dope. Yeah,
I love Glenn.
He drove to our car. He drove to the house in a souped up BMW with white stripes and the white ring around the rims, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. He's
incredible.
He's a kid in the making, And
anybody else would be like, you're a douche, but because it's Glenn,
exactly. No, he was honestly awesome, and he was telling me about he loves his technology, absolutely loves. He's got a TV in every room, and but he's just he's got this young style. Just a character that is still so energetic, which is awesome. He's again, between them all, that's just so different.
Would you want to work with Glenn?
Yes. We actually discussed. He's like, well, if you had some sail yacht experience, you could have come for me. Work. Yeah, for sure. I've got to a stage, and it might be difficult for people to understand. Because they only know me from the season, but the boat I run is on par with all the captains that are out there. It's not a matter of okay, they can still be my captain. I'm now a captain and an official one. So of course, on smaller boats in the beginning, it was still learning, and I could have gone as a chief mate or an officer onto a much bigger vessel. I can still go as a chief mate onto a much bigger vessel, but within the range that below deck this is the range, this is the size, and this is what I do. So I don't actually look at the captains as someone I could potentially work with anymore, but I look at them as friends. And with Glenn, I reached out to him, and he was like, "Oh, hell yeah, we're in the same place. Let's go." When we played paintball, it was so funny because he was playing capture the flag, and he ran and got the flag, and I could have sworn we shot him at least 1,000 times. But he gets to, and I can tell he probably is a sore loser, but he's so good. He's he gets to the end, and myself, my brother, and his girlfriend, who was so eager to shoot him, she came and joined our side. He was like, "No, I shot him. I know I shot him," And he was like, no, I don't have any paint anywhere. And then the next day in his comments, he's like, "Dude, I'm so sore." I was like, "Yeah, mate, you were shot."
Why are you so sore, dude? Why are you so sore? I love that. But it's not like you worked with them on the show, but you got to hang with them and see him. Absolutely, on the show, behind the scenes. What, if you had to pick one of the three that and have worked with, Sandy, Jason, or Glenn, to come back and work with, who would it be?
Tough one. That's so tough. I think because I've worked with Sandy, I've worked with Jason, I would like to work with Glenn just to understand a different way of doing things. It's not as much going back to the same person that you enjoy, but it's going back to someone that you could learn more from. I think we'd do so well. I think initially, even with Jason, I have a feeling that he might have thought that the production team were trying to screw him a bit by bringing me on because I was originally a captain coming into a position working under a captain. And I believe that he realized right from the beginning that I'm not there for that. I'm there to work. I'm there to have fun, and I'm there to accept whatever comes my way, especially with his way of running things, I'm happy to oblige, So I think he was quite relieved in that sense, as far as I could tell. And again, with Glenn, I think based on our conversations and how we would be a good team to work with each other, because we're not competing. I'm not trying to compete with anyone when I do go on board under another captain. I'm trying to learn from them. So
that's
yeah,
amazing. Well, and that's why, look, exactly what you do with Sandy. Look, and then she makes a call for you, and you helps with the whole captain thing.
So honestly, incredible how things have worked. Yeah.
Do you think you'd be where you are now if you had not done the show?
It's such a tough question, because honestly, if Sandy had it, not about the show, I tell you what, because the show itself, it hasn't been the greatest for me to get jobs or to work on boats, because of privacy, NDAs, because of a lot of things that Below Deck bring regarding negativity, or it does within our industry. It does. There's no doubt about it. On the real side, I say that. Like,
what do you mean? So like when you meet people now on the show and they're like, "Oh, that's you from Below Deck," is it like that?
When I apply for a captain's position, they're like, "Oh, but you were on Below Deck. Sorry, not happening." Or, "No, the owner wants privacy and you're not private, so no." That's more the thing. They won't even look at your CV usually. They'll just pass you on to the next person. So, yeah. But going back to the question, the show hasn't put me where I am, but I think initially in Sandy giving me that opportunity, or at least trusting me to take that opportunity, that made me realize that I can be a captain rather than working underneath people and finally finding my feet. I was thrown in the deep end and made it work. And I think that was my turning point throughout my entire career. Yeah.
So then why did you want to go, you're going at the captain, you're at the highest level.
Yeah.
Why did you want to go back to the show?
So prior to the show, because bear in mind it was a couple of years now, I didn't have my license yet. So I wasn't on a boat this size. I was on a smaller boat still. So, when the opportunity came to work with someone with more experience, and it wasn't like I was trying to fight, I wasn't looking for a job per se. Well, definitely not on the show. But when it came up, it was brought to me rather than me going and trying to find it. And I really believe in those kinds of things. When it comes to you, make it happen.
Take it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
And it proved, it's quite a weird feeling, especially with this last season, because I didn't get as much attention, I believe, on social media. I wasn't asked for much as regarding podcasts, or I wasn't asked for anything really, not like a Watch What Happened session or anything from production. So I'm not entirely sure how that worked. But at the end of the day, could I have gone back again now? No, whether they're filming now or not. Yeah, they I don't think I could possibly go back now that I'm in the position I'm in. Yeah.
You don't think you could go back?
Not as an officer again. Yeah. No. Look, as a fill-in position, I'm happy to do so. I think that, because it's still a part of who I am, and it's still a part of my career. I do this for a living. So I definitely go back as a fill-in position, or potentially as captain.
That would be incredible. Yeah. Would you go back and do the madness of the show again as captain, knowing you are running the whole shit?
Absolutely. Well, why not? I also have a way and method to broadcast. I like to show people, I've got my crew on board. We've had no turnovers. They're all here from one season to the next. They all really enjoy, and I say this because I've had intel from some of my mates on board that they enjoy my methods, and I'm very lenient up until I'm not lenient, of course, because that's just how it works. But I treat everyone more like family style. And I had a friend that came on board at the Monaco show, and she sat in the crew mess, and I was explaining what was going on, and she just looked at me, and I was like, "Are you okay? What's up?" She goes, "You know what? when I met you, you weren't a captain. You had just started. And she said, and from what I know, when you're off a boat, I can't take you seriously as being responsible right now. Like, how are you running this boat? And I was like, things have changed, but I also have to put a face on and, do as I say and I need to do as I can't preach and then not do it. So yeah, it's been, I'm a little bit suppressed, but I go home and I have my fun.
See, that's the thing. Is it so even like your people that come on, do they look at you differently because they're like, oh, we saw you on the show and we saw certain things?
They have been, but I think it doesn't take them very long to realize that I am a serious person and I have a job to do and they have a job to do. And this is how it works. We don't work for someone very small. We actually work for someone massive. And within the industry, I believe probably more massive than most of the captains on below deck have ever worked for, and that in itself says enough, so when they come on board, they see how it is. I usually don't, I've done the interviews. I've had people that come on that have seen me on the show, and I think they literally take a step back at the same time and comment and say, well, you're not exactly what I imagined from the show. They thought they were going to come to a literal shit show.
You're like, that's later in the season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hold on to your boot.
Hold on. Grab my beer. Grab my beer.
Like I said, as long as you grab it and I'm not drinking it, it's all right.
Totally. So like Bravo comes and says, listen, we're doing another spinoff of Below Deck. You're the captain. Who are the crew, hands down, that you could pick if you wanted? Who are people that you're like, I have to have these people with me?
Oh, well, honestly, it depends if they would work for me, or, and how they would work. I think Adam for sure. I really enjoyed Adam this season. I believe, Harry is young. He's got a bit of experience. He's great. I think he's an awesome guy. And I literally will pick. You have to compromise. It's not really a compromise. You have to compromise, I guess, with work and attitude and skill. Because,
totally.
There's no fine line. You can get someone who is amazing at their job and shit when it comes to
and they're an asshole.
Totally. Exactly. So in that sense, you have to find a balance. You can find someone who's not as good at some points. It's like a form of what you call functional leadership, where you designate them into situations where they're good at, and then get one of the other guys to take on a role that they're not good at, something like that.
Totally.
So yeah, again, Adam for sure. Harry from that season. I would love to work with Jack. Honestly, he was
really.
I'd love to work with him. He's honestly he's a good guy. I enjoy him, and again, off the show, I don't know how he is as an engineer. Hopefully he works a little bit harder. But he had his own goal. He had his own agenda when he came on board.
Totally.
So yeah, I guess it's hard to.
Colin,
Jamie, Colin was the first one for sure.
Yeah.
Jamie, who was the deckhand, the lady deckhand on our.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think she would be great. Like I said, we didn't quite get along, I guess, on the show, but coming off the show, I've spoken to her and yeah, she's great. I think she's awesome. I can't really think of any. It's also
between Hannah for your chief stew, between Hannah and Aisha, who would it be?
100%. Regardless, a job's a job, and she is good at her job. I think coming down, if what I think that they should do on seasons or on shows is that they should actually say to the crew that if you have not worked at least 6 months on a boat in the past, I don't know, 2 years or something, then they shouldn't be on board. Because I believe what happens is, and with all due respect to the captains, they still know what they're doing. They're still good at their job. But there are things that are changing 24/7. And when it comes to technology, we as captains, it's now upon ourselves to decide whether we want to educate ourselves further. We do have refresher courses, which mean almost nothing at the end of 5 years.
Yeah.
But it becomes our own, up to our discretion. And I believe that the guys on the show, once they are settled and comfortable, they'll do 6 weeks of a season, and then they won't work for a year, and then they'll do 6 weeks. They'll do other forms of work,
Right, sure.
but not necessarily on boats. And I think that plays a huge role in trying to actually portray what the industry actually is like.
Right.
You know,
it's like a basketball player, though. You're in season, and then when it's off season, you don't dribble the ball one time or take a shot.
Yeah, of course.
Same thing.
I mean, yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, being a captain, honestly, 10% of the job is driving. 90% is dealing with crew, dealing with management, dealing with guests, dealing with itineraries, dealing with everything else around.
All
so
the madness.
if you're good, you can sustain. Sustain, is that the word?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
But sorry, long day. But if you want to take it seriously, I believe honestly that everyone must do at least a month or two throughout the year on another boat so that they can, still be within the industry. Because that's what Asia is no longer the industry from what I can see, or what I know anyway. I'm not sure if Jason's been on any boats of recent. I know for certain that Captain Lee wasn't. I know Sandy does every now and then. I'm not sure for how long. And that's just my feeling that people should, they should spend more time in the industry. Of course, and don't get me wrong, they do on the outer sides, which is great. I think what I see when it comes to people talking about mental health, when it comes to all that kind of stuff, as advocates, the captains have that platform to do, and they do well at that. So I'm not taking away what they already do, but I think being on board and learning, like being hands-on or hands in the situation that happens is better than speaking about it and forgetting about what's going on around you. Yeah.
Right, totally. You don't use it, you lose it. It's like anything, right?
Yeah.
You just have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
What is like something though of all the things? Because we've seen you in different lights, right? We've seen you one way in season 3, one way in season 4, going on. What's one thing that you wish people knew about you that maybe you don't think they saw from watching any of the seasons?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is, in the position I'm in now, especially, is I guess it's for people to understand that whatever people bring towards me, I find a way to understand it. I'm not a hard person to deal with when it comes to being a captain. I think if I have an open door policy, and it's not I say I have an open door policy. I've had crew come and say, listen, I've had a few drinks and I'm what do I do? And I'm like, go and sleep it off. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning. Yes, on the show it happens, but in this industry it does not. I've had one of our people go to jail, and I spent a day of stressing, and I went to about 7 different jail police stations trying to find this person to make sure that they were okay, because I had to phone everywhere to find out that he was okay. No one knew where he was. I thought he had drowned. It was so bad. And I found
one of your crew went out drinking, and then this happened.
Yes. Yeah. So, I didn't fire him. I try to help him. I try to say, right, let's work towards understanding what the problem is, and then let's move forward from there. Because at the end of the day, he is really good at his job and all that kind of stuff. And it's a matter of trying to find a balance, because these things happen. I've been there. I've literally done it.
Yeah.
I've come to a boat absolutely shit-faced, fallen through the bosun's locker head first, blood everywhere, and I've been given that chance. So I think that the big thing is, I don't know if the right word is compassion, but I do when it comes to crew. And honestly, there's never a situation. I always, and it's been inbuilt in me, like I always watch the gap and I don't watch the trees. If there's a situation, they're like, everyone stresses and panics. I don't have that in me. I literally say, okay, what's the solution? And we go for it. That's, yeah. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And also,
wow. Growing up right in front of my eyes.
Can you imagine? I also love having fun. Of course, I go, I honestly treat the crew like family, and they understand it. And in that sense, I've gained so much respect from them, because they realize that we're a team. I'm not their boss. That's right. I'm a team leader, I would call it, rather than a boss, So that's a big thing, a big part of what's become of me, I guess.
I love that. And you were in a really serious relationship, and then you guys just it just didn't work out?
I was in a serious relationship with we were engaged. And honestly, yes, that was a few years back. And it was mainly COVID, to be honest. Like we spent so much time apart. I believe that if whether we had worked or not, it was that situation that kind of brought everything to light as to whether we were going to work or not. So, and each to their own. It is what it is. I don't hold back against anyone or anything. I am in a relationship now, and I have been for a few years. A year and something.
Your new lady.
She was an investment. She owned her own investment banking company. Okay.
No way. She's a boss bitch.
She's a boss bitch. And basically what had happened was, obviously, when I met her, it was in Mallorca, and she convinced me for the next 8 months not to work. So we traveled to, I think, 24 countries together in 8 months. And then I said, well, no, I kind of need to work now. I need to get back on the bandwagon. And she said, okay, well, then I'll do my SECW and join you. I'll sell my business and done. And I was like, I don't think that's the best idea.
Wait, so she sold her business to come work with you?
No pressure, right? Gosh. Anyway, so she then came on. The boss had a smaller vessel, and he was like, well, can you run this one before this one, because this one's being built? I said, no worries. Ran it, and then I asked her if she wants to come on as a stewardess / cook, and she came on. And then the boss said, no, I don't need a professional chef. You're now the chef on the big boat. Thanks, cheers. And she's done phenomenally. Like, her cooking is, and she's never cooked. She's had a hobby of cooking. She loves cooking, but the food is, and I'm not just being biased. Like, it's just incredible. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, she was under a lot of
24/7.
24/7. Yes. Can you imagine? Keeps me out of trouble.
Oh my! Do you see this going and do you want to get married and kids and all that?
Yeah. Look, again, I've literally gone from expectations to trying to, plan anything to literally whatever comes, and we figure it out. I don't see a need to think that far ahead, or if you in the present and you're enjoying the present, whatever comes. So. Yeah, it's a matter of just enjoying, literally just enjoying. Yeah.
Oh, Joao, I'm so happy. This, oh my gosh, I can't believe for how long I've been waiting for this. I am so happy to see you.
Yes,
and to do this.
And you, honestly, I've been, like I said, I've loved your energy. I've watched your growth as well. Honestly, I've watched it throughout, and as mentioned, I think a couple of months ago, because we've been on and off since then, that I see that you're doing really well, and I love it. I think just watching it on an outsider's perspective, outside as an outsider, and being able to do this is, it's really, really cool.
You're the best. Oh my God. I love you so much. I'm so, how excited.
Have I taken Colin's position, or no, I'm joking.
Yeah, you might be like my second husband now, and he might be bumped down to third.
Okay, cool. I'm in. I'll just have to speak to my girlfriend about that.
Yeah. She's listening. Now exactly. You're not getting any food tonight, baby. No food. No, nothing tonight, actually.
I think, what was it? Something that had happened, and all of a sudden in the morning, I didn't get my coffee. I didn't get my toast with avocado. Something I'd done, and I looked around, and I didn't expect it, because I don't ask her to do it. It just, And then one day I saw someone else eating the avocado and toast, and they're like, Dommy gave it to me. I was like, oh, is everything all right? She goes, nope, everything's not all right. I was like, the only way I could tell is because I didn't get my coffee and I didn't get my avocado toast.
What did you do? What did you do to fuck it up?
I can't remember. Honestly.
You had an interview with some crazy loud blonde chick.
something.
That
Yeah,
stalked
something
you.
like that. Yeah. If I don't get my coffee and my toast tomorrow, I'll let you know.
Then we're not airing this.
That-
Then I'll call her myself and be like, sorry, I'm a lunatic.
Yeah.
And
No,
please
he's very
feed your
good.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, Joao, I love you. You're the best.
Oh,
Thank you for
you.
doing this. I'm so
Absolutely.
happy.
And anytime, I think this season is going to be crazy. We have a lot to get through. We've got to launch. We're going to launch the boat in a week. We're going to sea trial. We've got a lot going on. I've got a couple of surprise changes for the crew, which will be really nice. And all good. It's been an incredible time, and being able to go home to South Africa is now my home, not Zimbabwe, but myself and Domi are building Airbnbs. We've got a beautiful place there. We're building a cottage now in Mallorca, which is stunning. So things are moving.
You're
so
jamming. Look at you. You're crushing. You are absolutely crushing. And it makes me so happy, especially because like you said, you see so many of these people come on the show and then what are they like? They use nothing. It's like done, right?
Yeah. Well, this is it. A lot of people, they come on, especially as newbies, and then a lot of the time they'll be like, okay, I've done the show. All right, now I'm looking for a job. And then they can't find a job because they're affiliated with Below Deck. And then they'll say, yachting's ruined my career. I'm sorry, Below Deck has ruined my career. And I'm like, you never had a career to begin with. So you can't say that. You know what I mean? And then the other group is the people that come in to do their last season, get a little bit of a capital injection and then get out, you know? But I mean, I've not to advertise it, but I've started with one of my mates I've met him about 6 years ago, Super Yacht Sunday School.
Yes.
Honestly, it's been incredible because the information, being able to help people in the industry, yes, of course, there's money at the end of the deal, you know, but it's not a lot for getting people started. They've had a great success rate so far. And the information that they don't know about, we've got all that information because I think the best part about my career in going from zero to hero, because it happened so quickly, I haven't been, I'm not in a box that, you know, I haven't been taught by one captain how to do things. And that's just how I know. I'm still a deckhand, you know, and coming from a deckhand to a captain, I still understand what it's like to be a deckhand.
So you've done it all.
Exactly. And my crew, so myself and my brother were employed together. So I've got two brothers who are on board now. I gave them a chance. It's quite funny because they're South African / Portuguese. My brother and I are Zimbabwean / Portuguese. They've got their Portuguese passports. They look nothing alike. It's hilarious. So amazing. Same like my brother and I. So I felt for them. My girlfriend, who's now the chef, was promoted by the boss. One of my best mates, who was my boss and my very first boss, now works with us. They've all come in from different ways, so it's easy for me to give that form of advice with crew, like up and coming crew, anyway.
Right.
Yeah, and it's been good, man. It's been so nice to actually get in touch with people who have the same ambition, and they're like, okay, so you've gone from captain I became a captain in 2.5 years, so that's a very short amount of time. And I've been off boats more than I've been on boats in the past now 8 years coming. Can you imagine 8 years?
No, I cannot.
8 years. It's insane. So in the past 8 years, I think it's about 4 years, 3 years, 2.5, sorry, 1.5, so 2.5, 3.5 years I got into a really good boat. And now on my 6th year, I've done a year on board this one. It's like, it's at my peak now. I do my one last and final exam at the end of this year. I could do it now, but I don't have the time. And then I've hit the top of yachting. So I'm looking forward to it.
Look at that. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you, all that you're doing. Wait, where can everybody go to find that? Your school?
Super Yacht Sunday School. Instagram would be the first part. They can click my link. There's a lot of free stuff, which you can probably get people up to their first job, honestly. But the big thing, especially for South Africans, we help with visas. We help with advice on visas, agents, cheapest places to go get your SECWs, your ENG1s, your stuff that you just don't know about yachting.
Everything.
So, yeah. No, it's good. It's really good.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. And honestly,
I'm sorry. I know it's so late there, but I'm
probably going to go. If I could show you how messy this boat is now, because I've been informed that we're launching in 7 days. I got here 2 days ago, and I mean we're still painting stuff. And
oh my gosh,
I'm going to be up for the next few hours working.
I'm sorry. Well, listen, I'm going to put this up tomorrow.
Okay, fantastic.
Good.
Awesome.
So I'll tag you and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, I'll repost it, and that's really, really, really nice to finally chat and keep in touch.